It was a Tuesday, like any other, or so America thought, but under the veneer of normalcy, a viperous plot was about to unravel. Across the nation, sleeper cells stirred. These weren't hardened militants, but seemingly ordinary people, doctors making their rounds, professors delivering lectures, students heading to class. They were the enemy within, and the moment to strike had arrived. Hospitals, beacons of healing, were among the first to fall. Gunfire erupted in waiting rooms, replacing the cries of newborns with screams of terror. Doctors and nurses, sworn to protect life, found themselves staring down the barrels of their own countrymen. Colleges, once bastions of knowledge, transformed into battlegrounds. Classrooms became holding cells. Libraries, repositories of information, went up in flames. The very heart of America was under attack. Panic seized the nation. This was not a foreign army on our shores, but a cancer within. The enemy spoke our language, shared our streets, and had been living among us for years, their true allegiance masked by an elaborate charade. How could this be happening? Who were these people? The answer sent chills down the spines of every American. They were activated by China. The day's news cycle, usually a cacophony of political punditry and celebrity gossip, was replaced by a single horrifying narrative. America was under attack from within. The images were too gruesome, the reality too shocking to comprehend. Yet as the dust settled, one question echoed across the nation. Why?
As America reeled, the world watched. The Chinese government, in an unprecedented move, issued a swift and unexpected apology. They claimed a rogue signal, emanating from a defunct numbers station, was responsible for activating the sleeper cells. It was a technical error, they insisted, a terrible accident. But for a world used to China's calculated silence, this explanation rang hollow. The numbers station, a relic of the Cold War, was said to have been decommissioned decades ago. How could it suddenly spring to life, transmitting the activation codes that unleashed chaos upon America? The Chinese government remained tight-lipped, offering condolences but little in the way of a credible explanation. Skepticism ran rampant. Was this a desperate attempt at damage control after a botched operation? Or was there a darker truth lurking beneath the surface? Intelligence agencies across the globe scrambled to verify the Chinese narrative, but the damage was done. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired. The apology, far from calming the storm, only served to further inflame tensions. The world held its breath. The attack had exposed the vulnerability of even the most powerful nation on Earth, and the specter of war loomed large.
But America is not easily broken. The shock and disbelief were quickly replaced by a steely resolve. The very values the sleeper cells sought to destroy, freedom, unity, and resilience, became the rallying cry for a nation under siege. From the ashes of chaos rose an indomitable spirit. The military, caught off guard but never unprepared, mobilized with lightning speed. National Guard units secured key infrastructure. Fighter jets patrolled the skies. The full might of the American military stood ready to defend its people, its land, and its way of life. But this was not just a fight for soldiers. Ordinary citizens, armed and resolute, took to the streets. They formed neighborhood watch groups, protecting their homes and families. Doctors and nurses, still reeling from the attacks, tended to the wounded, their Hippocratic oath echoing in the face of unimaginable horror. The line between civilian and soldier blurred, as Americans from all walks of life joined forces to repel an enemy that had infiltrated their midst. This was not the America of partisan bickering and social media outrage. This was America at its finest, united, defiant, and unyielding in the face of adversity. The enemy had underestimated the American spirit. They had miscalculated, and they would soon learn the price of their treachery.
The attack on America sent shockwaves across the globe. World leaders issued statements of condemnation and support, but behind the carefully crafted words lay a palpable sense of unease. The attack had exposed a chilling truth. Nowhere was safe. Russia, long locked in a geopolitical dance with the United States, reacted with a calculated mix of condemnation and thinly veiled opportunism. Putin, in a televised address, denounced the attacks while simultaneously warning of the dangers of unchecked globalism and the decline of American power. His words, laced with both sympathy and a hint of schadenfreude, did little to ease global tensions. The attack served as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the modern world. What began as an assault on American soil had implications for every nation on Earth. The global economy teetered on the brink, alliances were tested, and as the world watched, holding its breath, one question lingered: what happens next? The attack had shattered the illusion of normalcy, leaving in its wake a world grappling with uncertainty and fear. The old order seemed to be crumbling, and from its ashes, a new and dangerous world was emerging.
As the nation looked for leadership, for reassurance, for a plan, the White House remained eerily silent. The president, known for his senile and aging demeanor, was nowhere to be seen. The vice president, usually a steady presence, drunkenly cackling through the halls, was also conspicuously absent. The silence was deafening. Where was the commander-in-chief? Why hadn't he addressed the nation? Speculation ran rampant, fueling the very panic the administration should have been quelling. Was this silence a sign of weakness, of indecision, or something even more sinister? Rumors swirled. Some whispered of a coup, of the government being infiltrated at the highest levels. Others spoke of the president being incapacitated, cognitively unable or unwilling to address the crisis. The lack of clear information only served to amplify the fear and uncertainty gripping the nation. The absence of leadership created a dangerous vacuum, one that was quickly filled by conspiracy theories and misinformation. Trust in the government, already fragile, eroded further. The attack had not only exposed the nation's physical vulnerabilities, but also laid bare the fragility of its institutions.
The attacks on America left an indelible mark on the national psyche. The physical scars, the bullet-riddled hospitals, the charred remains of universities would eventually heal, but the psychological wounds ran deep. The sense of security, of invulnerability that had once defined America was shattered. The world watched as America struggled to come to terms with the betrayal. The enemy was no longer a distant threat, but a shadowy force that had lived among them, sharing their meals, their classrooms, their lives. The very fabric of American society had been torn apart, and it was unclear if it could ever be fully repaired. The silence from the White House had finally ended, as the former President Trump had stepped up in America's most heavy hour, confirming suspicions of Joe's ineptitude and deepening the sense of resolve. What began as a day of infamy had morphed into an era of uncertainty. The attack had not only changed the course of American history, but had also cast a long shadow over the future of the world. The road ahead would be long and arduous. The enemy within had been exposed, but the battle was far from over. The fight for America's soul had just begun, and the outcome remained uncertain.